in here.
Yeah,
Definitely.
definitely. Let's talk about it, though, Coach. You're 6 games in the books right now. It's a big week.
It's the Viking Coaches Show exclusively on WRVS
We'll talk
89.9,
more about that
your community.
momentarily, but it's definitely a new era in Mighty Vikings football. As a new head coach, 6 games in, what have you learned about your team that was expected, and what have you learned that surprised you a little bit?
Well, I expected us to, we're still young and we're still putting some pieces together. And, it's a learning process for me, just trying to understand all the different personalities that we have on the team and um, being able to mesh everybody together, and that's the biggest thing for me. But it's expected, as you've seen in pretty much all our games. We've had some uncharacteristic turnovers and some things that happen, and that's what happens when you have a young team. So, just trying to get everybody on the same page. For me, just making sure that we're still trending upward, and the guys are still upbeat and they have a great attitude, and we're still being positive. So, excited for that part.
I do want to touch on the last game that we played back on Saturday at Virginia Union. Overall takeaways from you, Coach, after you've reviewed the video.
Uh, well, Virginia Union is a good football team, as I know well, but the guys understand the level of competition that we played and they know where we need to be. That was a good measuring stick as to where we need to be as a football team. And again, just made some uncharacteristic turnovers and some plays. A couple of things got out of hand, but once you watch the film and you say, well, if we would have did this, this would have been right. And it was some bright spots in that game, but we got to be able to play consistent and be consistent, and and that's been our thing for this year, just being able to be consistent as we talking about every week. So when you watch the film, you see some things that we do well, but and it's also some things that we have to improve upon, and hopefully we can get that going this week.
As you stated, there were some bright spots in that game, including the play of preseason All-CIAA pick Zion Riddick. He's somebody I wanted to bring up right now. He's one of the most athletic players in the conference, and everybody can see that. The kickoff returns that he had, 3 of them for 121 yards, but the one he returned in the third quarter for 91 yards, that was a major highlight. He continues to make spectacular plays in so many different ways. How has he continued to assert himself to become an impact player in this league?
Well, you have to get him the football. He's an explosive player, and I just wish he would have finished, man. Hit 4 more yards.
Got her already. He was
He
right
got
there
right
close
there,
to her, right?
man. And I told him on the sideline, he kind of gave out a gas on that, but he's an explosive player, and we just try to utilize his talents.
Yeah.
We knew what he could do. He was a preseason All CIAA kick returner, and we knew he could do some things when he gets the ball in his hands. So that's what we try to do. We try to feed him in, and great player and also just a great student athlete.
Yeah, definitely. And again, we've talked about penalties and mistakes and how important it is for this team to play as close to perfect as they possibly can. Of course, nobody's going to be perfect. There was a few moments in that third quarter, specifically when Zion did return that kickoff to the Virginia Union 4-yard line. He said he ran out of gas. I thought he was going to take it all the way in, but obviously he ran out of gas just a little bit. But we went in that play, and I know this was probably one of the more frustrating parts of the game. You go to the 4-yard line, and that quickly went to first and goal from the 4 and 4 to the goal to the 19-yard line on 4th and 4. So it had to be frustrating for the team. Just take us back to some of the mistakes that were made that backed us up from that 4-yard line to the 19-yard line.
Man, okay. Well, initially, we came out in this big package that we had.
There are some areas on the team where we can improve, but overall, defensively, what are some of the areas you want to see improve as we continue game in and game out?
Well, we got to be able to stop the run. Jada Byers, I think he leads the nation in rushing, and I think he had over 200 yards in rushing, and that's kind of been our Achilles heel on defense. Not being able to stop the run. We've been pretty efficient with our passing defense, but not being able to stop the run has been an issue for us. And when you play over 60, 70 plays a game, it starts to wear on you. And playing a team like Virginia Union, who runs power football, they run smash mouth football. It weighs on you. So that's one of the areas that we definitely need to improve upon. Just trying to figure out a way to stop the run.
It obviously wasn't the result we wanted in Richmond from Saturday, but you talked about it. There were a few bright spots. What can you take away from that game specifically that will help this team move forward, whether it's what you'll work on in practice or what they can apply, especially to the game on Saturday?
Like I said, just seeing a team like Virginia Union, a team that we played that now is nationally ranked number 11th in the nation. So they're in the top. They're one of the top 11 teams in the nation in Division II football. And one of the bright spots, like I say, was 7-0 in the first quarter. Usually they have explosive first quarters, but we were able to just hold them to 7 points. And a play here or there, we're still in the game. So that's some of the things we take away from that game. I mean, we gotta continue to play better and play more consistent.
The schedule only gets more tougher, obviously, but the good thing about it, and we'll talk more about this in a few moments, is you're coming home. And it feels like you've been on the road for so long. We talked about this, about you being road warriors, but I know the team is looking forward to having a little bit of home cooking on Saturday.
Yeah, one home game out of our last six, man, it's tough. Just being able to transition and be on the road, but no excuses. I never make any excuses, but it's great to be at home. We're 1-0 at home, and that's one of the things that we've been promoting and letting people know. So it's always definitely a great thing to be home, and definitely when it's homecoming, it makes it special.
Well, we have a lot more to talk about. Obviously, we're talking about the homecoming game coming up against Lincoln. That'll be this Saturday. We'll talk more about that in a few, but we do have a special guest. Mr. Jared Bell is with us, and we'll have him coming up in just a few moments. You're watching Viking Coaches Show on WRVS 89.9 and on our YouTube channel.
Ain't this what they've been waiting for? You ready? I used to pray for times like this, to rhyme like this, so I had to grind like that, to shine like this. In a matter of time I spent on some locked up in the back of the paddy wagon, cuffs locked on wrist. See my dreams unfold, nightmares come true. It was time to marry the game, and I said, yeah, I do. If you want it, you gotta see it with a clear eye view. Got shorty, she tryna bless me like I said I chew. Hold up, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was finished? When I bought the ass tomorrow, y'all thought it was rented? Flexing on these, I'm like Papa on the spinach. Double M, yeah, that's my team. Rose, the captain, I'm lieutenant. I'm the type can the mean cast and grind like I'm broke. That Lambo, my new, she'll ride like my ghost. I'm riding around my city with my hands on my toes. Cause these want me dead, and I gotta make it back home. Cause my mama need that.
Welcome back to Viking Coaches Show, live from Ridley Student Center here on the campus of Elizabeth City State University. It's homecoming for the ECSU Mighty Vikings, and the football team is getting ready for the big game this Saturday against Lincoln. We'll talk with Coach a little bit more about that in a few moments, but we have a special guest with me, and I'm happy to be talking to this guy right here. Finally able to get you on the show, Mr. Jared Bell. Thank you so much for being a part of today's show. Listen, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your life as a Mighty Viking, your time here on campus. First, I'm happy to hear that you're a digital media major. So tell me why you went into digital media.
I chose digital media as my major just because I enjoy creating things, and just like creating content for people is very near and dear to me. And like being able to share things with so many people in the world, because the world is going towards social media, is just a great thing.
Well, I also heard that you wanted to be a cameraman at some point. Is that something you're still trying to do? Because we could use the assistance over at the TV station.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I enjoy camera operation.
Gotcha. From Belleville, Michigan. Tell us a little bit about that area, because obviously I don't think anybody here is from Michigan. So tell us a little bit about hometown.
Belleville, Michigan is about 20 minutes outside the city of Detroit. Detroit is the major city in Michigan. It's more of a suburban area. We have a very rich history. They just recently won a state championship back at Belleville High School, so it's a great area to be in.
Your journey to Elizabeth City State University. Talk a little bit about that. How you became a mighty Viking, and you benefited this football team so much. But tell us a little bit about the journey from high school to now.
So out of high school, I attended a Division III program, University of Mount Union. They had a very rich football history, but after that, I ran into some issues and I ended up going to community college. So during my time in community college, I made a really good friend. Her name is Tone Gaffney. She came down here. She also attends Elizabeth City State. I came for homecoming. Actually, this was like my first chance to see campus and kind of experience being a Viking, and I just fell in love. I want to be a Viking ever since.
And we love it, man. You've done such a great job for this football team. Talk a little bit about the camaraderie that this team has felt, especially over the past 3 games. I mean, it seems like you've been on the road all season long. You're finally able to come home Saturday, but as I've been talking to Coach, it seems like it brings you all together when you're on the road.
Oh, definitely, man. I love these guys, man. We all play for each other. I haven't been here that long, but I feel like I've been here all my 4 years.
When you get ready for Saturday, obviously you talked about how major homecoming was for you to say, I want to become a Viking. How big is this game for you as a player, and then as well as a team? How big is this game, homecoming, coming up?
This game is the biggest for me. This is my senior year as a football player, so I want to make sure I go out and get the fans a show. We got the Santa class here, D lights here, so I just want to give everybody a great experience for homecoming.
When you talk about life as a student athlete, of course, we see what you do on the football field, but inside the classroom is really important to you too. Talk a little bit about how you balance that with the classwork and then having to put in the work on the field.
Balancing class as a student athlete is just one of the things you have to do. So I just kind of make sure I take out time. We have a lot of study hall hours. Coach makes sure we get our work done. It's just something you got to do as a student athlete.
Wonderful. Jared Bell, thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with us on today's show. Happy to have you, man. And listen, good luck on Saturday. I'll be watching, and I know everybody else will too.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure thing. Again, that's Jared Bell, offensive lineman, senior, and I tell you what, he's going to do a lot out there on that field. We're going to bring Coach back in just a few moments as we're going to talk about this Saturday's football game against Lincoln. It's homecoming here on the campus of Elizabeth City State University. We'll be right back with more Viking Coaches Show on WRVS 89.9, your community voice.
Ain't this what they've been waiting for? You ready? I used to pray for times like this, to rhyme like this, so I had to grind like that, to shine like this. In a matter of time I spent on some locked up in the back of the paddy wagon, cuffs locked on wrist. See my dreams unfold, nightmares come true. It was time to marry the game, and I said, yeah, I do. If you want it, you gotta see it with a clear eye view. Got shorty, she try and bless me like I said I do. Hold up, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was finished? When I bought the ass tomorrow, y'all thought it was rented? Flexing on these, I'm like Papa on this spinach. Double M, yeah, that's my team, Rose the captain. I'm lieutenant, I'm the type can to mean cast and grind like I'm broke. That Lambo, my new, she'll ride like my ghost. I'm riding around my city with my hands on my toes. Cause these want me dead, and I gotta make it back home. Cause my
We're going back on in about 2 minutes. Of Elizabeth City State University, Clay Mercer with ECSU football head coach Marcus Hilliard, and it's homecoming here on the campus of ECSU. Always a fun time. Everybody, so many events for the alumni and students. You were a student here, a football player here. Give us a little bit of insight about how your experience was with ECSU homecoming.
Homecoming was always different, man. At least when I was here, you have the older alumni come back, and they want to meet you, and they hadn't been back in so long, so it's new things going on campus, new buildings, and back in the day when I was here, man, they used to just pull up on campus, literally, like cars on campus and just tailgating on campus. So homecoming it's a different feel here at Elizabeth City when we have homecoming.
Homecoming is always exciting for the students, and you have student athletes. They make up the football team. How do you keep them in line, making sure that they stay focused on what they have to do on Saturday?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, the toughest thing at homecoming, man. There's so many activities, so many different things um, that are going on campus. So, you know, I've been letting them know like we got to stay focused on the goal at hand, and that's beating Lincoln. And we can have fun after the game, but we got to take care of business, and that's been the message to the team. And it's tough, but you just got to trust and believe that those guys are going to do the right thing and make sure they're getting prepared for Lincoln.
ECSU homecoming versus Lincoln, 1 p.m. kickoff over at the Vaughn Center. It's also Paraphernalia Day, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. But Lincoln, coming off a 14-16 loss to Chowan, 2-3 overall. Coach, it's our homecoming game. It'll be a packed crowd over at Roebuck Stadium as expected. How important is this game specifically for the team? How are they feeling about it? How major is this game for them?
Well, every game is important, but this is definitely the one that's special. It's homecoming, and we need to kind of get off the skid here. And like I said, we're 1-0 at home this season, so it bodes well for us. But Lincoln, they're a much improved football program, and they do some good things. But like I said, if we're able to be consistent and do what we're supposed to do, we'll be able to get the victory on Saturday.
In that game that they played against Chowan, they had a balanced offense for what they were able to do. 314 yards. Their quarterback, Isaiah Freeman, he threw a couple of touchdowns, but he was only 8 for 21, and he got sacked 4 times. I'm sure our defensive line is going to be, they smell a little blood in the water. So does that change as far as what you all want to do and keeping that pressure on the quarterback on Saturday?
Yeah, Freeman, he's a good quarterback. I think he can scramble and he does some good things. But what most impressed me about Lincoln is their ground attack. They're able to run, and we said earlier, that's kind of been our Achilles heel. So, being able to stop the run, and I think we've been pretty efficient in our pass defense. So, the focus is to make sure we're able to stop that run and attack, and if we're able to do that, I feel good about the game,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. As far as our defense goes, and again, they've been getting better and better and better. It's one of the bright spots of what this team has done. You've looked at some of the film probably on Lincoln. Is there anything that you'll be changing up? Of course, we don't want to give them the game plan, but is there anything that we'll be changing up, especially offensively for our team, what we're doing?
Well, defensively, we got a couple wrinkles that we're going to add in. Of course, they do some things that we feel like we could take advantage of. Offensively, I'm sure you saw that we went back with Chase as our quarterback, so he'll be the starter this week, and just trying to get him comfortable. I think he came in and he made some good plays. He made some scramble plays, and he was able to make some plays down the field. So, looking to improve upon that and just press forward. And offensively, just they're pretty good on defense. Lincoln is pretty good on defense, but we got some wrinkles where we'll be able to attack some of the things that they do.
And when you look at Lincoln, you also, again, they played Chowan very tough. So you can kind of tell that they're a scrappy team and they're looking to get a win. They would love to spoil homecoming for us. Real quick, Coach, if you could give us 3 keys to victory of what it will take to get this win on Saturday.
First, man, no turnovers. If we can win the turnover battle, I think we'll be fine. Be efficient on third down, both sides of the ball. That's been a key that we've been talking about since we began the show. And being able to be consistent, getting drives offensively where we're not getting those three and outs, and we're able to move the ball, and we're getting three and outs on defense. So being consistent, being efficient on third downs, and making sure we don't get any turnovers, and we win that turnover battle, and those will be the keys to victory.
Coach, this is usually the time I give you the microphone. I'm going to turn mine off, let you talk to Viking Nation, get them prepared for what's to come on Saturday.
Well, just make sure you come out and support us. I know you guys have been patient, and the guys are working very hard to get it right. And just come out and support us on Saturday, and we're ready to put on the show. And we've been working hard. Don't think we haven't. And come out and support us for homecoming, and so we'll be able to get that victory.
It's going to be outstanding. Again, ECSU Homecoming 2022 is happening all week long, but the homecoming football game is most important, and that'll kick off at 1 p.m. over at Roebuck Stadium. If you can't make it out to the game for some reason, you just make your way onto the radio station. We'll have it for you from beginning to end on WRVS 89.9. Just make sure you're listening. Coach Hilliard, thank you so much for making this show happen. Thank you for what you've done for ECSU football and this program. It's only going to get better and better. Good luck on Saturday, and I look forward to catching up with you next week.
Thanks a lot, man. Yeah. Viking pride.
Yeah, definitely, man. We thank you all for joining us. For our guest, Jared Bell, and ECSU football coach Marcus Hilliard, thank you all for joining us here from Ridley Student Center. If you missed any parts of today's show or you want to catch up on past shows, just go to the WRVS 89.9 Facebook page and check it out anytime. We thank you for joining us live from Ridley Student Center for Viking Coaches Show. We'll see you next week here on WRVS 89.9, your community voice.